Well, welcome everyone to another edition of the CSG Networking Podcast. Today's guest is Oliver Stephenson from Fortis. You're going to learn a lot about Fortis today. Let's talk a little bit about Oliver. Enthusiasm, drive, strategic positioning, psychology, and learning why people make decisions are the most interesting subjects to him. He's a surfer, a soccer player, a recreational poker player. And being able to outthink your opponent is part of the competitive edge that keeps him focused. Passion gives him the opportunities to grow skills in sales, marketing, business development, and personal interest. Everybody, welcome Oliver.
Thanks,
Oliver,
Dave.
can you tell us a little about yourself and your role at Fortis?
Yeah, that was an introduction. Yeah, similar to like what you said, passion is what drives me. It drives me to be a good dad and father, and also have a husband and just enjoy kind of what we have going on here in San Diego. So I work at a company called Fortis. We do financial services, and primarily I think that's kind of a boring industry, on the surface, but obviously I'm always driven to try and figure out how I can make it interesting and how I can excite people to see the same type of vision that I have towards, wherever I'm working at. So, in what I do for marketing, we make a bunch of different products that are related towards financial services and next generation technology. And, we're kind of on the forefront of pushing some new technology to help drive engagement and add value towards people's software. So that's the primary mission. And for me, I just work because of my background in video, film, and photography and things like that. I do a lot of the media, and I'm definitely interested in pushing a lot of the media agenda and trying to make us out there a little bit more. So, what a great connection. I'm pretty pumped on your podcast that you have going on and the initiative to connect people in the community, especially locally in San Diego. So thanks for having me on.
Well, it's been fun getting to know you and your team too at Fortis. You guys have a very interesting business model, and you're driving that. That's really cool. Now, what I understand is Fortis is one of the largest merchant processing companies in the country, if I'm not mistaken. What are some of the challenges and opportunities you see around that in that industry?
Yeah, I wish we were one of the top. Of course, there's so many big companies out there who are really helping become the biggest financial services companies. So we're the little engine that could, in essence. I would say that we're trying to be really solid with what we can offer. Obviously, the thing is, when marketing, you can't really go and be like, "Hey, we have great customer service, and we're just a good group of people." Like that just doesn't work. And even though we do pride ourselves on the ability to work closely with software vendors and with our merchants, and we pick up the phone and we're real people. Those types of things exist, but what we're doing to carve ourselves out in the marketplace is trying to showcase, like I was mentioning, how being integrated and seamless, making the end user's experience as close to invisible as possible, is our biggest focus as a company. And I think you're talking about success. I think that's why we are successful, is because, we're driven towards that model, as opposed to other companies who might have the services that are there, but they're like, yeah, we'll just get it out to you and keep moving on and just plug and play a bunch of people. And so they have it, but it's like a little disparate. It's a little disjointed, and it makes the customer experience a little bit more, it's not exactly what the software vendor is really looking for. But they're like, we need it. It's like kind of one of those necessary evils. So we try and make sure that the software blends in with the payment experience, and the customer isn't really taken back. They're not like, oh, what is this about? It's all a part of an easy flow of service. That's pretty much the focus. The opportunity that we face right now is driving that connection even further. Making sure that when a software vendor, what they're really trying to do is provide a service, but not just the one service, but like really help the merchant. So when we align ourselves with that goal of making sure the user experience is as seamless and complete as possible, we're kind of winning in that space. For instance, value added services such as like text message marketing, text message receipts, digital payments, on somebody's phone. having those services as a part of your software now provides more value out of your software. It gives you a competitive advantage over somebody else. So our integration is really a way to help bolster and infuse more value into each person's software. That's kind of our focus.
I was going to ask you for some examples, and that was really great how you told us what you're doing that's different, integrating text receipts and messaging right into the software. And I would assume the softwares you're talking about are accounting type softwares, or maybe just accounts payments, maybe QuickBooks, Sage, these kinds of services.
Yeah, you know what you say, Sage, and that's funny. We are making such a great relationship with the Sage enterprise. Now, Sage is growing exponentially. They are finding different companies and attaching themselves and just growing what they're able to do in the ERP and business B2B space. So we are a very happy partner to be working with them. We've been doing so many different things. One thing we're actually doing right now is launching the Sage 50 integration that we have, which is something that links right into the QuickBooks. So it helps a lot of different field services and smaller B2B payments. The Sage 100, 300, X3 were also integrated into those. And so the ERP space, it's booming. I think a lot of people are seeing value out of having that kind of enterprise resource planning software as a part of their business to help them grow. And they're a part of that same goal, which is our product has everything that's needed for a customer. They don't have to worry about going to separate places or, disjointing the customer experience. We also are filled out in the merchant services, in the hotel space. I'm sorry, not merchant services, but the hospitality industry, in the 2A field, which is, pawn and not pawn, but it's guns and pawns and things like that.
Sure.
And one arm, that Payment Logistics, which is the company I was a part of before, we were part of the hospitality space, but more niched into like the restaurant side. So, and the retail side. So you have a lot more connection when it comes to that tactile customer experience and all of that. So we're kind of in a bunch of different fields, but like you said, the business B2B space, B2B to C space is really our bread and butter, and where we are being seen as providing a lot of value, a ton of value.
So would you say are you dealing a lot with accountants and accounting firms that want to integrate for their customers your software to make their lives easier?
Yeah, well, we do make their lives easier. When it comes to like these bigger businesses, medium-sized businesses, normally there's somebody in charge of software and somebody who's in charge of these types of decisions. This could come from the CEO, the CFO, the COO, or the CTO, the technology officer. Is like, how do we find the system that, puts it all together? So as much as we're helping the accounting folks and the AR folks and so many different places within the business, because, hey, if we can eliminate a couple clicks, that eliminates seconds, that eliminates minutes, that eliminates hours, headache, frustration. So, we're definitely making it easier in that process. But the people who are kind of looking to the future on what is the business need and what types of integrations do we need to make sure that the employees have an easier time and how our customers also have an easier time, that's where they're. So for ERP, business to business, we're kind of taking this technology of text message and email invoices and being able to not just send off an email invoice and send off a text message invoice, but we're actually collecting payment through there. So that's helping out the accounts receivable team leaps and bounds. They're no longer chasing payments. Things just kind of fall into place. They're just receiving emails saying, oh, this person paid in the middle of the night. And that helps out tremendously when you're looking at trying to just make sure that the funds are coming through the business and you're not trying to hound and call. And it just makes it uncomfortable when you're like, hey, you haven't paid in like 60 days. You're going to make that payment.
What's up?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's never a fun conversation. So we can help them alleviate those conversations and just make it easier. Like, people really appreciate being able to make a payment, on their terms.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like you've got a great company that's doing some innovative things in the technology world. And we have quite a few watchers and listeners that are in the technology business. And so I would say to you out there that are watching and listening, Sounds like this might be a great opportunity. You can reach out to Oliver and Fortis. All the information will be at the end of this podcast, and maybe get a demo and get to meet and talk to them about what their product can do for you and your customers. Oliver, thanks a lot for the time. Great to have you on the podcast, and look forward to working with your company in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Good to talk to you, Dave.
You too.